लास्ट वीडियो में हमने डिस्कशन किया एनवायरनमेंट के बारे में, उसके डिफरेंट सेगमेंट्स के बारे में, उसके एलिमेंट्स के बारे में। अब हम बात करेंगे एनवायरनमेंट के एक तो हमारा स्कोप के बारे में, है ना, उसकी इम्पोर्टेंस के बारे में एंड उसके मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी नेचर के बारे में। सो एज वी लुक अराउंड at the area in which we live, we see that our surrounding were originally a natural landscape such as a forest, a river, a mountain, a desert, or a combination of these elements. Most of us live in landscapes that have been heavily modified by human beings in villages, towns, or cities. But even those of us who live in cities get our food supply from surrounding villages, and these in turn are dependent on natural landscape such as forests, grassland, rivers, seashores for resources such as water for agriculture, fuel wood, fodder, and fish. Thus, our daily lives are linked with our surrounding and inevitably affects them. We use water to drink and for other day-to-day activities. We breathe air, we use resources from which food is made, and we depend on the community of living plants and animals which form a web of life of which we are also a part. Everything around us forms our environment, and our lives depend on keeping its vital systems as intact as possible. Our dependence on our dependence on nature is so great that we cannot continue to live without protecting the earth's environmental resources. Thus, most traditions refer to our environment as Mother Nature, and most traditional societies have learned that respecting nature is vital for their livelihood. This has led to many cultural practices that help traditional societies protect and preserve their natural resources. Respect for nature and all living creatures is not new to India. All our traditions are based on these values. Emperor Ashoka's edict proclaimed that all forms of life are important for our well being in 4th century BC. Over the past 200 years, however, modern societies began to believe that easy answers to the question of producing more resources could be provided by means of technological innovations. For example, though growing more food by using fertilizers and pesticides, developing better strains of domestic animals and crops, irrigating farmland through mega dams, and developing industry led to rapid economic growth, the ill effects of this type of development led to environmental degradation. The industrial development and intense agriculture that provides the goods for our increasingly consumer-oriented society uses up large amount of natural resources such as water, mineral, petroleum products, wood, etc. Non-renewable resources such as minerals and oils are those which will be exhausted in the future if we continue to extract these without a thought for subsequent generations. Renewable resources such as timber and water are those which can be used but can be regenerated by natural processes such as rainfall, but these too will be depleted if we continue to use them faster than nature can replace them. For example, if the removal of timber and firewood from a forest is faster than the regrowth and regeneration of trees, it cannot replenish this supply. The supply loss of forest cover not only depletes the forest of its resources such as timber and other non-wood products, but affects our water resources, because an intact natural forest acts like a sponge which holds water and releases it slowly. Deforestation leads to floods in the monsoon and dry rivers once the rains are over. Such multiple effects on the environment resulting from routine human activities must be appreciated by each one of us. If it is to provide us with the resources we need in the long term, our natural resources can be compared with money in a bank. If we use it rapidly, the capital will be reduced to zero. On the other hand, if we use only the interest, it can sustain us over the longer term. This is called sustainable utilization or development. Now, what is the importance of environment? We live in a world in which natural resources are limited. Water, air, soil, mineral, oil, the products we get from forests, grasslands, oceans, and from agriculture and livestock are all a part of our life support system. Without them, life itself would be impossible. As we keep increasing in numbers and the quantity of resources each of us uses also increases, the Earth's resource base must inevitably shrink. The Earth cannot be expected to sustain this expanding level of utilization of resources. Added to this is misuse of resources. We waste or pollute large amounts of nature's clean water. We create more and more material like plastic that we discard, that we discard after a single use, and we waste colossal amount of food which is discarded as garbage. Manufacturing processes create solid waste byproducts that are discarded, as well as chemicals that flow out as liquid waste and pollute water, and gases that pollute the air. Increasing amount of waste cannot be managed by natural processes. These accumulate in our environment, leading to a variety of diseases and other adverse environmental impacts, now seriously affecting all our lives. Air pollution leads to respiratory diseases, water pollution to gastrointestinal diseases, and many pollutants are known to cause cancer. Improving the situation will only happen if each of us begins to take actions in our daily lives that will help preserve our environmental resources. We cannot expect governments alone to manage the safeguarding of the environment, nor can we expect other people to prevent environmental damage. We need to do it ourselves. It is a responsibility that each of us must take on as one's own. What is environmental science or studies? Environmental science is the study of interactions between the physical, chemical, and biological components of the natural world, including their effect on all types of organisms and how humans impact their surrounding. Environment is everything that affects an organism during its lifetime. In turn, all organisms, including people, affect many components in their environment. From a human point of view, environmental issues involve concerns about science, nature, health, employment, profits, law, politics, ethics, fine arts, and economies. Therefore, environmental science is by its nature a multidisciplinary field. The word environmental is usually understood to mean the surrounding conditions that affect people and other organisms. Multidisciplinary nature of environmental studies. Environmental studies cover every aspect that affect a living organism as it interacts with the surroundings in its quest to live. Environmental studies are integrative, but the core of the subject comprises biological sciences like zoology, botany, microbiology, and physiology. Many environmental concerns can be resolved through application of biotechnology and molecular biology, while bioinformatics can serve as a database at molecular level. Environmental studies is therefore multidisciplinary and aims at unraveling the ways in which human beings and nature correlate, sustaining life and man's unquenchable thirst for development with limited and finite resources.